the two words acknowledgement and grace came up for me. And when we acknowledge, that means we tell the truth about something. And we can tell the truth about we can take a moment and address how far we've come. And many of us don't take that time to just take that moment and address how far we've come, how far you've healed, how far you've achieved something, or you've been willing to still persevere with something. And taking that time to acknowledge, because it's so easy to want to create that perfect world, that perfect situation, which may or may not happen in our lives. So how do we bring acknowledgement? How can we bring that feeling of just, I'm going to pat myself on the back for really trying to lose weight, even though I haven't done it yet, but at least you're trying, and that's a big deal. You are trying. Or I want to be in a relationship. So you're trying. Maybe you haven't made any headway in the past 10 years, 5 years. Or you want to be a better parent, spouse, member of your family, but you still haven't done what you would like to do. But you still have that as a commitment. So you might want to take a look at what are those things that you're committed to have happening. And even though they haven't happened yet, they're still in your heart. And when we work with the angels, as I've told you before, just having that in your heart as a prayer, through your mind, through your thoughts, whether you write and you speak it out loud, you are connecting with your angels. And just like you give a order at the restaurant, you've been heard. And I think it's the greatest thing to know that you have been heard, because if you really knew that you've been heard by a greater energy, by a greater consciousness, by something like a God of your own understanding, because I don't come here to preach any one religion, but I do teach about finding something that is outside of yourself that is a source of energy. And it could be nature. It could be the stars. It could be your dog, your cat. And it could be a god, goddess, deity, whatever works for you. But understanding that you don't have to do this all alone, that we are connected. We are connected by life force energy. We're all connected. And that by grace, which is the second word, by telling the truth about what we want, what we're looking for, what we yearn, what we desire, and mostly things that are for the betterment for yourself and for the world. I don't know if you're going to get a Lamborghini when you could really just have a Ford, or a Toyota, right? So sometimes, but depending on your place in your life, it may be what you really want. But what I'm trying to say is that the universe will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. Always, always, always. But the second part of it is grace. Now, what is grace? Grace is that incredible feeling of being calm and peaceful in the hurricane, while things are going on all around you, or you might be working through some PTSD or some trauma or situations at work or, family, the world, the basic human things that we go through that we're dealing with. And you have a dream in your heart of having some peace with it and having some relish, really being able to relish your life. So it's not easy in this world of the internet, of social media, of information bombardment, to have that quiet calm within ourselves. And not all of us has the means or even the desire to go sit for 10 days and not speak, at a Vipassana in a situation, a yoga retreat, or even to do 2 days at a retreat. So I often give health tips because these health tips actually help our body calm down and relax without having to do an inordinate amount of things. And just recently I read that even 10 minutes, a 10-minute walk can help you enormously, help decrease, increase how long you're going to live. A 10-minute walk. So we don't have to have these really hard, arduous ways of doing things in order to find those things that we want, right? But it does take a certain grind. Now, what is grace? Grace is, for me, the ability to grind, have to do those things that are difficult, new, complicated, but breathe through it. The ability to face those things that I would like to see answered in the world, such as that are in politics, but affect all human beings, as possible. So back in December, I talked about that my book would be released, but it's not. But I will have it as an ebook, How to Connect with Your Angels and Work with Them, a basic guide, going to be very cost effective for everybody. But while I was working on that, 2 other book ideas came up where I really tell my story about how I got into working with angels and my path of healing, etc. So that's coming. So again, here we go with the messages for the month of March. So the first card is 4 of Fire, and it says prosperity, contentment, and celebration. And before I go into the reading, because it was really filled with such really optimism, what I'm looking to share with you is this. If you know you're someone who might always be a Debbie Downer or worry a lot or pessimistic, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I remember jogging in Central Park with a girl, a friend, and she said, and I was talking, and she said, Barbara, are you aware that you talk so negatively about life? This was like in 1988. And I was like, no, I wasn't aware. And because of this comment by a good friend,